Good morning, it's Jonathan Bauer with the morning debrief, or the week ahead report. It's Monday, and it's the 21st of February 2011. Present day holiday in the States tonight. Things will be pretty quiet. Obviously, there's no night session, but we did have a good good run on Friday night for the equity markets, mainly in the States, but it didn't translate into much movement in our markets, which was a little bit of a concern. Anyway, let's see what unfolds. I guess over the weekend, the major news is the contagion in the Middle East continues to spread. That has something which we have highlighted, that once you see one success, then I think other communities which are repressed, or countries which are repressed by these leaders, will actually start to unfold. And that's what we've had in Libya, but the concern we've got in Libya is that Gaddafi, obviously of a military nature, this could actually be quite violent and become quite violent, and that, in my mind, is a concern just for stability in the whole region. And I think that's something which we'll be keeping a close eye on. Okay, now this morning, just expect gold to be a little bit better bid, also crude, just purely on the back of that. And as we've also noted, not just Libya, it's Bahrain, Dubai, all these areas too have a little bit of concerns across the board. The Dubai bourse on Saturday was actually closed down, and that was, to me, is an indication of things to come. Whether or not that will spread to other equity markets around the world, I don't know, but I think at the moment we just have to monitor those events. Okay, in the week ahead report, what we do is we just talk about the up-and-coming events, what's due out, that sort of thing, and also some of the trends and themes that we've been talking about or some of the trends which we've been following over the last week or so to see whether those trends will continue. Before we do that, let's have a quick update as to what happened last night, and I'll just quickly get Bloomberg, and we'll just get a quick update there as to what's happened overnight, and just a couple of things there. There we go. Dubai shares drop as Middle East unrest sparks. We know about that. It's happened. So that is a big event there. And I guess you can see there with the Dow. Dow's up 73, or closed up 73. The S&P was up 2, and the Nasdaq was up 2.37. Now, it didn't actually go across the whole bourse. Particularly Europe was relatively mixed. And when you look at what happened in Europe, the Euro stocks was up 3. The FTSE was down 4, and the CAC was up 4. The DAX was up 21. Our local market actually closed down 12 at 4,910. So that in itself, I think, is just a little bit interesting. Okay, let's have a look at what's happened, obviously, with currencies and equities. First of all, let's have a look at the US dollar. US dollar down, obviously. 78, well, it's in the middle, let's put it that way. Down just a fraction there, 77.64. We are on support level for it. As I mentioned, remember I told you about this little move here? That spike should have seen it higher, but it's failed, and that's exactly what's happened. So I guess when you are trading, keep an eye on those little things, because we've actually been bullish the dollar, and that was that signal which suggests that it's not moving on. So that is the case. Anyway, good support here. Might get a little bit of support, dollar safe haven buying, if things in the Middle East start to go pear-shaped. Okay, so that's the dollar index there, a little Aussie there, 101.34, top end of the range again. You read it as a textbook, top end side, 101, 50, 60. Let's see what happens. If it fails, then it goes down to the other side again. Really needs something to break through 102. I'm not quite sure if they're going to get it, because, China's slowing down. Copper's sort of come under a little bit of pressure. There's this adjustment there of our expectations on growth. And I think these expectations, have falsely been read into the Aussie. Interest rates aren't moving high here, so why should that Aussie actually be at these levels? So I think I could present more of a ranging opportunity in the Aussie rather than a trend as your friend that's going higher. But you've got to wait for trigger points to occur for that to occur. They haven't happened yet, so the market wants to trade higher. You've got to look for it and wait for those trigger points if you want to buy US dollars. Okay, let's have a look at the copper. Copper 447.50. Still on these amazing highs, and still looks obviously quite, well, it's come off the major high, but still holding quite nicely. This sort of framework suggests a test higher. So up until we get any adverse news, we can only assume a buy and dip must remain with us. Crude's the interesting one. Crude straight up to 88 and then straight back down again. I don't know quite sure what we make of this, this sort of price action, but I think if anything, this area here is good support. down 84.85, and this sort of area here suggests a move to the top side, but that's pretty powerful stuff when a market does that. Really, your range would have to be, you'd have to conclude your range as 84.88 up until 88 breaks. On the top side, you can't do too much. For those that trade that break there, your stop is below here at 85.30. So if you're not prepared to hold it on to 84, then probably best to keep your stop in. Okay, having a quick look at gold. With what's happening, I think gold continues to stand out opportunity, even at these levels, and probably advise if you are long, probably get a little bit longer. No problems there whatsoever, I feel. Stops, if you do go in long at this level, will have to be placed about 13.80. So just be careful on that. Apart from that, local equity markets, let's have a quick look there. Local equity markets, as you can see, it's right on the top end of the range there, and it's either going to bust out to the top side or she's just going to go lower. But because we're holding on to these values, one has to assume that it will continue to trade higher. That's what we need to see. Okay? If it does continue to trade higher, then that's a good thing, and that's what I'm looking for. I want to either see it break through 49.30, then we're up into a higher leg. If not, well then, where it's got to go somewhere, but it's just sitting here doing nothing. Might be a reasonable opportunity today. Let's see what happens. Okay, having a quick look at the Dow too. It's obviously worthwhile having a look. Let's look at the E-mini, 1342, and have a quick look at what's happened there. Then we'll get into that data and see what is coming out this week. There it is. Look, you can't fault it, but you've got to question it. That's the thing. Trend's your friend. That's what it has been for such a long time. And yeah, as I said, you can't not look at it, and you've got to continue to run with it, and that's what it's done. It just sort of continues, but our market doesn't. So when you put one against the other, something's happening. I think it's got to do a lot with priming, and I think it's a bit of a false economy there at the moment. Okay, so that's about it. Now let's let rip into the numbers, what we've got coming out this week. As I mentioned, we do have the President's Day in the States. Monday there's not too much, except for PMI around Europe, so that's going to be a widely watched number. On Tuesday, we've got a little bit out of Switzerland there, but obviously at S&P Case-Shiller, consumer confidence, and ABC confidence in the States, all very important there. Let's see what Stephen says Stephen's in Australia. Basically talks about the economy. I will be quite interested to see whether he spills the beans on anything in terms of interest rates, but I think, as we know, interest rates are going to be pretty on hold for the foreseeable future. And if anything, depending on where the cracks in the housing market appear, I might see it actually go lower. Wednesday sees construction spending and wage cost index in Australia. CPI around Europe. Bank of England minutes. Let's see what happens. The bias would have to be concerned on the inflationary side. And there's talk of interest rates moving up. I can't see it, but weirder things have had done before. But let's see what happens there. There is talk about it. Industrial orders in euro, which are important there. Existing home sales in the States, and we've got a little bit of interest there, obviously, in Japan in terms of who owns what. Looking on to Thursday now. Thursday, private expenditure in Australia, average weekly wages important. Quite a lot of news out of Germany. Eurozone confidence will be widely watched. And, of course, one of the big billers there for the week in the US, capital goods expenditure, durable goods orders, housing prices, new home sales, etc. We've also got CPI in Tokyo. Righty-ho. And then on Friday, I guess the key there is GDP in the States, personal consumption. But I think the big billing will be Thursday night there. We've also got a lot of data out of the UK as well, so that'll be widely watched. So I guess overall, once again, I think we stick with the themes we've got, and those themes are whether or not this movement in the US economy is as a result of stimulus or is it actually chugging on by itself. We've got to stick to those initial claims, jobless claims. Last night's data was very mixed, and I think you have to read something in that. Gold, Middle East, and oil, let's see. Obviously, oil did not react according to what was happening in the Middle East so far, but gold certainly has. So gold's sort of been bought on that safe haven status, inflationary status, that sort of thing. So that's the environments we're in. So if anything there, I'd sort of advocate still holding on to that gold position. We're certainly still long, so I think you can quite happily run with that. And US dollar, let's see what happens there, see if we pick up some safe haven. At the moment it does look weak, but we are right on support. So just stick with there. The grains, a little bit of a correction at the moment there. I think that is temporary, but that correction could be a little bit deeper because we've had a great run. Good to see cotton traded. With those people who had issues there, it's now out. And we'll see some form of consolidation there. Quite low. We're off the limit moves, so people are out. So we've just got to pick up sticks as to what's actually occurred there in terms of how the trading's occurred. So really, that's about it for the week ahead report. I hope everyone has a good week, and let's see how the trading affects everyone. It's certainly going to be fun. There's lots of news out there, but let's just keep an eye on that Middle East. That is a time bomb, and that's something we're going to have to watch very closely. That's about it from me. Have a great week, and we'll talk to you later. Bye for now.